Welcome to Lessons from Your Hairstylist. This podcast is for women who are not done becoming the best version of themselves. Here we have honest conversations about beauty, confidence, transformation, reinvention, aging, and learning how to feel like yourself again in midlife. I'm Sarah Cruz, and after decades behind the chair, I've heard it all. So have a seat and find out that whatever it is that you may be quietly dealing with behind closed doors is actually more normal than you may think. Sometimes a conversation with your hairstylist is just the thing you need. Welcome in. Well, hello and welcome to the Lessons from Your Hairstylist podcast. I'm your host and hairstylist friend, Sarah Cruz. And today we are talking about one of the latest trends that we're seeing right now in hair color. Now, I filmed this podcast on my day off. So this is Friday. I've been in the pool. I'm not looking like I just came out from behind the salon chair, but I do keep up with what's going on. And so many times I get asked by my clients or just people on the street or just anyone that I'm having a conversation with who knows that I'm a hairstylist. They'll say, what is trending right now? Like, what are people doing? And this is such an interesting trend right now that I don't think we've seen the exact same thing before, but it is reminiscent of something that is a little bit more lower maintenance, something that's a little bit more classic, and it's called skin-toned hair color. That's right. Skin-toned hair color. That sounds kind of crazy, like you are matching your hair to your skin, but that's not actually what you're doing. Skin-toned hair color is actually just a bit of a departure from the multi-dimensional hair color that we've been seeing up until this point in recent years. And we've gone everywhere from like the sort of stripiness of the late 90s, early 2000s up into like the ombre and the sombre and all of the different braids, variations that we've seen with hair color, but hair color that was just very lived in so that the roots were darker and then the ends were lighter. So we saw that. So there's a little more high contrast. And then, we've seen balayage where you're leaving darks and lights, where you're sweeping the color on and you've got some bright spots and then you've got depth. This is a little bit different. This is a little different from what balayage would be or like a regular highlight would produce, because in those you actually can really see the dimension between the dark and the light. And this is different because this is more of a monochromatic effect. Now, monochromatic doesn't necessarily mean that the hair color is just one flat all over color. And it doesn't mean that you're just trying to match that up to be an exact match to your skin tone, because that would be weird and that wouldn't look good. But the purpose of skin-toned hair color is to find a color that looks very polished, very elevated, very expensive, and can complement your natural skin tone and the undertones of your skin. Now, there's still dimension. You're still going to have some highs and some lows, but it's a very blended effect. Everything sort of just melts together. So if you think of like watercolor, how those colors sort of meld in together, this would be the effect of skin-toned hair color. So the goal is not for people to notice your hair color, it's to actually notice you. In my opinion, this look is very timeless. It's very classic. So today I'm just going to explain why it's becoming so popular, where it came from, and how to figure out what colors would be most flattering on you, as well as what language to use when you're asking your stylist for this type of a look. So your stylist will still create that dimensional palette, but they're going to do it in a different way, and they're going to do it in a way that truly complements your skin tone. So for years, we've loved techniques like balayage. We've loved those brighter pieces in the front, whether you're blonde or even a brunette, having those face framing highlights that really show up and really pop. Well, this is a little bit more modern. This is more current, and it's a bit more of a departure from those things. Because lately we've been seeing a rise in the term quiet luxury and old money, and it's about healthy skin, timeless beauty. And hair color is actually following in that same vein as well. So instead of this high contrast color and these bold statements, people are looking for something that is just a little more in harmony of what their natural aesthetic is. They're looking for something that is a little bit less dramatic. They're looking for something that's in harmony with their skin and in harmony with their aesthetic. They're going a little bit more neutral and a little bit more classic and timeless. So I love that trend. I also feel like the maintenance for that will be a little bit more manageable as well, both financially and time wise. I think that this is your lived in, but I think it's the lived in of 2026, 2027. So we've heard that term so many times. And really, that meant to me more like the hair was growing out and it was just sort of this kind of like grow out look. And that was the lived in look. Instead of lived in, to me, this is a little more elevated. This is not so much lived in as effortless. And I think that we're starting to see a turn right now in style as a whole, away from quite so casual, quite so messy. And people are starting to revisit a little bit of natural glam again. And I'm kind of excited for that. So feels like we're elevating ourselves a little bit and I am definitely here for it. What's nice about it is it's just very fresh and it complements your natural features. And that's really what we're looking for. And as far as where it came from, we've been seeing celebrities like Margot Robbie. I mean, she's a wonderful example. She's got that sort of softer blonde. She's had it over the last several years. It's very creamy. It's very sort of beige, beautifully blended. It goes with her skin tone. You don't really notice that she's like obviously a blonde. It's just that you notice her. I think Jennifer Lopez is another example. We've sort of seen this with her for years and years and years. She's sort of gone in the same vein, but I do think that it's really highlighting that look right now as well, where she just kind of looks like a kid that came out of the sun. She's just naturally glowing. And I think that that's something that we're trying to capture as well. Her hair color is becoming a little bit more polished. Her undertones would be complemented by caramels and golden beiges, and everything in her complexion is working together. Nothing is competing with it. So it all, instead of being monochromatic, it just all works together and looks beautifully flawless. And I love that that is where we're headed. Hailey Bieber, she's another example. Beautiful brunette, minimal contrast, maximum shine, nothing feels overdone. So you may have seen these celebrities, but go back and look again and see if you can sort of pick out now what it is about their hair color that really complements their skin tone and compare it across the board to other inspiration that you see. The good thing about this trend that I love is that when you're wondering like who is a good candidate, the thing is like almost everybody's a good candidate. I mean, if you've ever thought my blonde is looking too bright or my hair seems to be washed out, my hair color is not really suiting my face anymore. If you're not interested in looking trendy and you just want your hair color to look luxurious and expensive and polished, I think you're a good candidate for this. It's been coming down the pipeline on platforms like TikTok and Instagram and things like that. And we've seen it all over social media and on the internet. And you know that it's trending, but it isn't just for younger women, which is so nice. Those of us over 40 into our 50s, 60s, even 70s, our skin tone changes all the time. So why would we not have our hair color to complement where we are in our life? So it's so customizable. And I think that's what I really love about it. It's very custom. So I think the customization is actually what makes it look so elevated and expensive. It's just a softer palette that allows the skin to look healthier and brighter. So you might be sitting there thinking like, well, how do I know, how I would match up my color? What is my skin tone? How do I know what would look good on me? There's a few things you can do. I mean, when you visit your stylist, they should be able to look at you and make some of those assessments. But if you're just wondering for yourself, maybe what colors would look good on you, then you can do a few little tests. There are things that you can do. One of the things you can do is look at your wrist to see what color the veins in your wrist look like. So if your veins look sort of a blue or a purple, your undertones are probably cool. But if you look at your wrist and you see that your veins look more green, then you're probably a warmer undertone. Now, I have looked at my veins before and been like, I can't tell if they're green or blue or violet. Like they kind of look sort of neutral to me. Like sometimes they look green, sometimes they look blue or violet. I can't really tell. So there are those of us too. Probably a large portion of us are actually in that middle category. So you could go with some cooler tones or some warmer tones. I mean, it's not a perfect science, but it is a starting point. It gives you a little bit of a clue. Another thing you can look at is your jewelry. Are you more prone to wear gold or are you more prone to wear silver? Or which one do people compliment you more in? Which one do you feel like looks better against your skin? If you wear more gold, then you may be more warm. And if you like to gravitate more towards silver, then you may be more cool undertones. Again, a lot of us are somewhere in the middle. Another thing you can do is you can hold up a stark white piece of paper next to your face, or you can wear a stark white shirt and go into natural light. If next to the white, your skin looks more rosy or pink, then you're probably a cooler undertone. But if your skin looks more peachy or golden or olive, you probably have more warmer undertones. And also think about your clothing. What colors do people compliment you in the most? What do you tend to wear most often because you feel like it looks best on you? Those can be clues as well. So if you have warmer undertones, you may love colors like honey blonde, golden beige, caramel, amber, a warm brunette, cinnamon. But if you're cool, you might gravitate more towards things like a pearl blonde or sort of an ashy beige or a mushroom brunette, mocha, cool chocolate. Neutral complexions really have the most flexibility, so you can play around with those a little bit. And I kind of feel like I'm in the neutral category because I can't always tell for sure. And you may be that way as well, or you might lean one way or the other, but it's a good starting point. And also it's important to remember that skin tone is only part of the puzzle. Part of this too is your eye color, your features, your brow color, your natural hair color. And also keep in mind that just because you have a warm or cool undertone to your skin doesn't mean that you're going to look the best and the exact same hair color as someone else who has the same warm or cool undertone. Two different people can look completely different, even if they have the same undertones. So it really does take a little bit of playing. And that's why it's really important to see a professional instead of trying to go out and do this yourself, because it is a very customized approach that needs to be taken. So speaking of going to a professional, what the heck do you ask for when you go into the salon? Do you say, I want skin toned hair color? Is your stylist going to look at you like you're crazy? Like, how do you describe it? How do you even know what you're going to look good in? What do you ask for? What's the language? I mean, you don't want to go in and just be like, I want an expensive looking blonde, or I want something natural, or I want to look old money, or I want to look quiet luxury. I mean, those descriptions are so broad that your stylist is going to not have any idea what you're talking about. So you are going to have to drill down a little bit. But you could say something like, I'd love a soft, low contrast color palette that complements my complexion more than it stands out. So this lets your stylist know that you're looking for something that's really going to work with your natural undertones and your skin tone. You can use words like harmonious, not I want to go lighter or brighter, or I want warm or cool, just something that is more in harmony with my natural undertones and my natural skin tone and my features. If you still like the look of some dimension where you've got some highs and lows and a little bit of contrast in there, that's totally fine. Again, this look is not just like one flat color. It is dimensional, but you can describe it in a way for your stylist to understand that you're wanting a very blended look. You could even say like, I want everything to melt together seamlessly. So if you're a brunette, you could say something like, I want to stay within 1 to 2 shades in the same color family. I'd like a little bit of dimension, but I don't want too much contrast. If you're blonde, you could describe it as wanting to soften your blonde so that it blends more with your complexion rather than contrasting with it. So if you do decide you want to try this trend, here's a few questions that you can ask your stylist. So question 1 is you could just ask them what they think. You can say, do you think that my hair color is too contrasting with my skin tone? What's your opinion? Number 2, this is a good one. You could ask them, if you were to create a custom color palette for my skin tone, what colors would you use? See what they say. This is a really good way to assess whether or not they're understanding what it is that you're looking for. And if they're asking you more questions, that's always a good sign. The more questions they're asking you, the more clarity they're getting. Another question you can ask is, would you keep me warm, cool, or neutral? And tell me why. That last part matters. A great stylist should be able to thoroughly explain why it is that they're choosing those colors and how exactly they are going to complement your face. So it's not just a choice for your hair, it's a choice for how it's going to enhance your features and not compete with them. So as a stylist myself, if someone were to ask me, what colors would you choose for me in the color palette? I may say something like, well, I see that your eyes are this deep chocolatey color. So I feel that a deep cinnamon would be beautiful with your complexion. I see that your skin is warm. So maybe we add a little bit of caramel into your color so that everything sort of like flows together beautifully and it complements each other. That may be a phrase that I would use. Every stylist is different, but depending on your features, listen for what the stylist is telling you. Does it seem to make sense? Do you seem to feel that that would work for you? Just listen to your stylist's answers, and the two of you can talk through it together to find something that truly works for you. Now, how do you know if your stylist is really grasping this, if they really understand it, if you're going to get the right outcome with this, or if you're kind of just rolling the dice with this person? Well, you're looking for them to start talking about your complexion. They're going to look at your eye color, your brows. They're going to look at your natural color. They're going to consider things like your lifestyle as well. They're going to look at your maintenance schedule, even your makeup choices, because what they're doing is actually designing a custom color palette for your hair. So it has to work with all of the aspects of your life. So they should be asking you multiple questions. I mean, this is a color that's specifically designed for you. This is not a Pinterest picture. This is not something that comes off your Pinterest board. This is not an AI photo that you find online. This is something that is designed specifically for you. Now, here's some red flags to watch out for. And this doesn't mean that your stylist is not capable or that they're not a good stylist, but it may mean that they're not fully understanding the assignment. So listen for these cues. If the conversation immediately becomes, well, I think you could probably use a few highlights. I think that would look good. Or they say something like, well, maybe we could just do a toner. I think we could maybe cut down on this brassiness a little bit, and that probably would help. That's so vague. And they haven't gone into depth about your features, your lifestyle, your natural color, your complexion, your eye color, your brows, all of those things, then it may be that they're not going in depth enough to truly be able to create something that works specifically for you. They may create beautiful hair, but it may not be hair that is actually flattering to you. And that's one of the things that I've noticed so much in my career is that the hair is actually not separate from the face and the body the way that sometimes I feel stylists can see it. They're looking at their work. They're looking so many times at the hair itself. And I think sometimes we get almost tunnel vision in looking at what it is that we're creating, and we're not taking into account the big picture. So it's very important to zoom out and say, yes, my technique is good. Yes, this color is beautiful, but is it truly complementing this person's features? And it should all start with the face and the skin and the complexion, the hair, the eye color, the brows. Your face is the center of attention, and everything else should complement that instead of contrasting with it. The other thing I love about this is that the maintenance can be very low because the transitions with this type of hair color are a lot softer. Now, it's not that lived in, sort of grown out, almost kind of like unkept or kind of like I kind of don't care type of thing. It isn't that. Lived in to me is not necessarily the same thing as transitional, if that makes sense. So lived in just looks like you're having a grow out and it's happening naturally. But the transition from the root to the color should be soft without looking like you're having a grow out. Now, if you're covering gray or you're dramatically changing your natural level, and you can still have that skin toned hair color, but the hair color itself may be quite a departure from what's naturally coming out of your head. If that's the case, there's still going to be almost just as much maintenance as there would be any other time. So you're still going to need regular appointments. But the difference is overall is that skin toned hair color just ages beautifully between visits. So if you're intrigued by this and you're asking yourself, should I try this? Ask yourself this. Do I want people to notice my highlights or my hair color, or do I want people to notice me? Do I want dramatic or do I want something that's more timeless and classic? Do I like contrast or do I want something that's more soft and harmonious? This is kind of like asking yourself, do I feel like my hair is wearing me or am I wearing my hair? Are you owning it? Does it feel like you? I think that is what this new skin toned hair trend is all about. And I predict that this is here to stay for a little while. So if you feel like you're looking for something just a little bit different, but you don't want to go crazy, you just want to elevate yourself while still looking the best version of yourself, then maybe skin toned hair color is for you. Sometimes with beauty, one of the best things we can do is just to create more harmony with what it is that we already have. And I think that when your skin and your eyes and your hair and your features are all working together, people don't necessarily notice your hair color. They're really noticing you more. It's like, oh, you look great. I can't put my finger on it, but you look beautiful. That's when hair color is doing its best work. I hope you've enjoyed learning about this new trend we're seeing coming out. Watch for it. Remember, you heard it here first. Maybe you did. I don't know. Maybe you've heard of it, but I wanted to share this with you because I find it so fascinating and I'm so excited for this new trend. And maybe you're intrigued. Maybe you're inspired and you want to try this yourself. So go see your hairstylist if this is something that interests you. But in the meantime, thank you so much for joining me here again on the Lessons From Your Hairstylist podcast. I'll see you soon. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Lessons From Your Hairstylist. I hope you found inspiration and actionable insights to embrace your unique beauty and elevate your life. Remember, it's all about taking small steps towards a happier, healthier you. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who might benefit from it. Together, let's continue unlocking the secrets to living beautifully fulfilled. Until our next appointment, keep your thoughts on your visions, your self-talk kind, and remember to keep your heart open so you don't miss any opportunities waiting for you out there. I'll see you on the next one.